fast, secure the bag. Don't even blink, make them walk the plank. Light them up, let's make them sing. Fire the cannons, fire the cannons, fire the cannons. 4 bucks, yeah, we on. Fire the cannons, fire the cannons, fire the cannons. The whole field's our red zone. Let me give you 55 reasons why this is our season. Palm trees breezing, opposing teams bleeding.
Welcome back to Buc What You Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Buc What You Heard. You follow me, and of course, you know I'll follow you back. I'm joined by my esteemed colleagues. I'm going to start with you, my man, Michael Pless of Real Bucs Talk. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. It's awesome to be here. It's awesome that it's NFL Week 1. I got
Feel the
clear,
energy.
Yeah, I got the clear from my doctor, so I can watch games this year. It's awesome.
And of course, with that, the man, KB, Ken Barrett, not to be mistaken for Shaq Barrett. How you doing, my friend?
RIP fantasy draft season. Hello,
Okay.
NFL season, baby. It's
gloves
real.
The gloves are off, and we getting ready to roll. And I did want to mention before we get started that I do have a pick'em league. If you follow me on Twitter and you want to jump in, it's not too late. We got 5 minutes. We got until 5 minutes before the game on Thursday. So get your picks in. Let me know if you want to play. I'll definitely make room for you. I don't even know where to start, man. I guess probably the best place to start is the injury report. I know we've all gotten a chance to look at it. And for you guys, and plus I'm going to start with you. What does this injury report mean to you?
Well, it looks good. It's probably the healthiest we're going to be all year. So, there was a couple of guys that were limited. I know Tristan, Russell Gage, I think it was Logan Ryan, Gio Bernard. They're all limited. But again, nothing serious enough to keep them out this week. Obviously, the big surprise is Chris Godwin being full participant, which is great. Hopefully, he continues to go on that path. I'm not sure if he'll play this week. It kind of seems like he's being very cautious, and that's understanding. So we'll just see how that goes, and maybe he's on a snap count on Sunday. So yeah, good news all the way around. It's probably we're not going to see it like this every week going forward. Probably not.
Oh, absolutely. And I think this is where you have to really look at the players that are behind the starters and really take a really close look at them and see how can they contribute to keep this team on that winning track, because that's what's going to be important. I think, with the bye week being week 12, I believe, just that's going to be a grind. You're talking, 12 straight games or 11 straight games to the bye. It's going to be tough to get to that point. So that's something we just definitely got to, keep our eyes on. And I'm comfortable with the roster that they have. I love a lot of the moves that they made in the offseason, and we talked about it. And now these guys get to really go out and prove what they can do. KB, what are your thoughts?
Well, as Pless said, it's nice to see Godwin full participant. I mean, I'm sorry, I can't with the wings. But Godwin is still wearing that QB jersey, so I think they're just trying to limit those hits. We'll see if he plays. I think he'll be snap counted. If not, maybe week 2, week 3. Both said it earlier today. Not looking to rush, but I think Gage is going to play. Gio looks like he's going to play. Julio non-injury. Zion's probably not going to play at all. I think he's the only real one. Everyone else seems ready to go, including Wirfs. And the Cowboys, I know Gallup's listed as limited, but I don't think he's playing. So I think that's a big addition for the Bucs with not having to worry about Gallup.
When you look at the team and you look at the Buccaneers, especially on the depth chart of the offensive side of the ball, I want people to factor in that your favorite player may not be on the field right now, but at some point throughout the season, they will get playing time just because of how the NFL goes. So if you're not seeing your guy, or your guy isn't the starter, or your guy's third string or whatever, just focus on this team winning games to get to the playoffs. That's the most important thing. And, I don't know. It kind of gets frustrating for me when I hear people saying, well, why isn't he starting? If he can come in and contribute, I don't see where it becomes an issue whether a player starts or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're talking about, Jamel Dean versus Sean Murphy Bunting, et cetera.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, both of those guys are going to play. Obviously, I think me and Ken would agree. Jamel Dean's the better player. He deserves it to
Mhm.
to be on the outside, and coaching staff felt the same way. So, you know, yeah, all of them are going to play. One way or the other, whether it's through injury or just matchup. You have
Right.
to play the right matchups, and just like Rashad White being running back too. That's
Exactly.
he's going to get plenty of opportunities, especially as the season goes on. They want to keep Leonard Fournette fresh.
Mhm.
He'll get his chances in there.
And I think what really sticks out to me is that Rashad White is is running back number 2.
Mhm.
And it's cool that the coaching staff trusts him enough to put him in that position to kind of see what he can do. And I think that's one of the best ways to get a running back up to speed, is just having him in those different situations.
Yeah, for me, from a matchup standpoint, even too, I'm really interested to see what the Cowboys do. I mean, last year they had the big three receivers. Now it's really Lamb. So are they going to go 2, 3, 4 wide receivers? Are they just gonna, rock 2 tight ends? Maybe have Tony Pollard be a slot guy.
Mhm.
I mean, what's their real game plan? I think will be interesting because we know the Bucks. If only 2 receivers are out there, they're going to stick in base. And from a matchup standpoint, I mean, we just talked about, Dean versus SMB. I mean, is SMB still going to be the nickelback? Is it going to be Antoine Winfield? What happens when, bullets are flying? What is that? What do those matchups look like?
I think you have to kind of keep in mind too that with Dallas, with their limited resources, they kind of are going to have to lean on Ezekiel Elliott. I know we haven't mentioned his name a whole lot, but they have to get some kind of productivity out of Ezekiel Elliott to help the quarterback in a way. And again, when we've seen him in the off season, and you just really haven't heard his name mentioned a whole lot. And what is this? His last season? How many more years does he have left
I
in
think
Dallas?
2.
I think he's
I
got
think
2,
2.
something like that. I just after he got the big contract, we haven't seen the Ezekiel Elliott prior to that. So
Mhm.
uh, does he have more to prove? Does he feel like he has more to prove, or what are we going to see from him?
It's going to be interesting. I mean, again, it's a very tough task this week against the Bucks run defense, and Cowboys offensively will need to run the football, but will they? I mean, as far as just wasting downs, I mean, if you're getting 1, 2, maybe 3 yards and you end up in 3rd and 7 most of the time, that's not good. That's not good numbers
Right.
for the Cowboys to be effective, especially with everyone's talking about our offensive line. It's their offensive line that has 3 new starters as well, at very key positions, both tackle spots, new starters, a rookie at one of them, and then new left guard. Obviously, the center right guard is the same. So, I mean, how is that going to play out? Whether how the defense attacks the Cowboys offense, or how does Dak and company try to move the ball against us.
Yeah, and when you look at Akeem Hicks and Vita Vea in the middle, and I think somebody mentioned that, or Will the Brewer, they're not. I mean, I just don't see them trying to run the ball up the middle. I just, with their offensive line, uh, the state of it right now, it's going to be a lot of Ezekiel Elliott, and he's got to kind of show what he can do because, with that stout defense, especially run defense, we're going to see on paper it looks like they've improved against the run, which is crazy when you think about it. But I really see them, kind of locking down that run defense and kind of making Dak make plays with his legs or with the pass.
Yeah, for me, it comes down to 2 things. If I'm the Dallas Cowboys and I'm constructing a game plan, I am sticking 12 personnel. I am running boots, play action, and I'm doing max protect. We know the Bucks are going to leave Carlton Davis most likely on an island with CD Lamb. So, what matchups can, I mean, we know Kellen Moore is a pretty creative play caller. So,
Yes.
what kind of routes and what kind of, movement can he really get? Because, I mean, the teams that the Bucks really struggle against from a defensive or an offensive standpoint when they're on defense is, working side to side.
Right.
You're not really going to run the ball up the gut. You're not. I mean, unless Tyreek Hill that one quarter 2 years ago, beating them deep. That's generally not what teams do against the Bucks. It's, turning those 5-yard passes into 10, with
Right.
yak and missed tackles. That's why, the Bucks generally struggle with like the Rams, because that's what they do. They make you play into space. So it's going to be very interesting to see how, Dallas handles that offensive line situation, because other than Zach Martin, I mean, it's advantage Bucks on the O-line D-line matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I would agree. I would just second, what Ken was saying. That's the biggest weakness for the Bucks defense is in the flats. That's going to be the area where hopefully we can find some way to, take that area of the field away. Again, it's hard because what they like to do is a lot of zone blitzes with, different types of pressures, and you're putting guys in certain situations where they're not maybe as athletic as your linebackers that can get sideline to sideline because they're coming up the field north and south. So yeah, that'll be the intriguing part, especially early in the game. How does Dallas counteract our pass rush and our aggressiveness to get after the quarterback?
And I have seen instances last year, and I know this is something that the Bucks are well aware of this, but we've seen times where the Bucks were over pursuing, and it put them in a bad situation at times. So just being disciplined, and it's going to be very important. We've talked about this in the all off season. The Bucks have to do their job. Each player's got to do your job, and that's all that you should be focused on. And I think the Bucks can be successful.
And I mean, the Bucks, even from last year, are one SMB tackle of Cooper Kupp away from probably another Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah, most definitely. So, just while we're on the subject, and I want to get your guys' opinion, I'm gonna start with you, KB. Has this team improved? I mean, when you look top to bottom at the roster, has this team improved over last year, or are they about the same? I know we've seen some of the some players come in, new players come in, and replace some of the other ones. When you look at it overall, have the Bucks improved, or are they about where they were last year?
I think from an overall team standpoint, they have improved. Yeah, no, I'm saying from an overall team standpoint, they have improved. Obviously, on the offensive line is where that it's not 2 steps back. It's really just like a step back. I mean, Luka Decky, don't really know what he's going to look like when the stars are bright in Dallas. And I think Robert Hainsey is solid, but obviously he's just not Jensen. But everywhere else, I mean, yeah, AB was great. If you give me the choice of Russell Gage and Julio or AB, I'm taking the 2-for-1 special there. Defensively, I mean, I don't think the fans will really appreciate what Logan Ryan's going to bring to the secondary, freeing up Antoine Winfield to do a little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Oluokonu Fadakasi, I mean, him being able to, probably give us a little bit more even to special teams. Zion McCollum, when he's healthy, I think is going to be a prolific gunner. I mean, I think he has the potential from a gunner standpoint to be Ryan Smith. And I mean that as a compliment to everyone out there who thinks of him as a really bad corner, which he is, but he was a prolific gunner.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we've had quite a few over the years that captains that have gone on special teams that have gone on other teams. I didn't
even talk about Keanu Neal. I mean, there's Akeem Hicks. I mean, I didn't even mention these guys. Shaq Mason. I mean, those are. I mean, Shaq Mason's an upgrade over Kappa.
Yeah.
So, and I think honestly, Keanu Neal's might be, and he's at least even par, I think, with Jordan Whitehead. So it's not like you're missing much.
And I'm gonna say this, and Justice Muhammad talked about it too. You kind of stole my thunder. With him restructuring his contract, Mason just right out the gates doing that to kind of free up some cash. That these guys want to win, and they're doing what they need to do this. So I can't tell you how excited I am. The one thing that I'm on the edge of my seat about is just injury. I know there's going to be injury. Just these guys coming in and making plays and winning these games, because I know the Bucks have a rough schedule, but these are all winnable games. I don't see any team out there that's just going to come out and dominate.
I don't know. Aren't the Saints supposed to be the NFC South champions this year, from what I read? Peter King, shout out.
Yeah. Keyshawn Johnson, shout out, jerk. And trying to think who else said something. But yeah. Again, if the Bucks go out and play and do their job, that, you know, these are all winnable games. Even when you look at the Saints, these are all winnable games.
Yeah, I love it. I love seeing this team, you know, just going under the radar. You know, it seems like, you know, if we go back, you know, maybe 3 or so months ago, everyone was penciling this team in as, you know, automatic best of the best NFC team. And now, since Ryan Jensen has gone down, one player, might I add,
Yeah.
one player goes down, and they say multiple injuries. And I'm like, who got injured? Just one guy. That's not injuries. That's an injury. Just one.
Ryan Jensen is multiple.
But
Okay.
Aaron Stinney,
Aaron Stinney wasn't even going to be on the team. Like, he was going to get cut. Like, so when you look at it from that standpoint, I love it because they're just overlooking the fact that Tom Brady is still the best quarterback in this league.
Mhm.
You still have Mike Evans, who is absolute dog. Chris Godwin's going to be back and ready to go. The offensive line, yes, it's going to be different, but guess what? You have 2 new guys in there that have a great opportunity in front of them. This is big time for them. And I just feel like with Tom and the rest of the group that is surrounding them, with Donovan Smith taking a veteran leadership role, now you have Shaq Mason, Tristan Wirfs going to take another step. They're going to be okay. And again, this team can, people forget, you can scheme, you could do a lot of different things. Just like Ken said earlier about the Cowboys, Bucks can do the same thing with 12, 13 personnel, max protection, throw it downfield because you have all day to throw. So, you know, stuff like that. And as far as being improved from last year to this year, I think they are, because they're a year older. You're more experienced on defense. I think guys are going to be in better position. I expect Devin White to have a hell of a year. I really do. I think he's going to be big time improved because the secondary behind him hopefully can stay healthy and they're going to be in the right spots. So they're not going to ask Devin to do too much as far as coverage, and they're going to let him just eat behind Vita Vea and Akeem Hicks on A-gap blitzes, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm glad you brought Devin White's name up. I think some of the things we saw from him last year, I believe him as a player, he will improve on a lot of things. You know, with Levante David being out, I think it changed his mindset and how he played last year. And again, this year they're both healthy, and I expect to see him playing a lot more disciplined. And he's somebody I'm expecting to make a bigger step forward than what we saw last year. So Devin White is the guy. Devin White and JTS are 2 guys that I really have high expectations for to really do a lot to help that defense.
also Akeem Hicks is going to help out Devin White as well.
Big time.
Yes.
JTS being on the field full time, that's going to be so much to this defense. And I think, and the biggest thing I was trying to make, this is going to be a smarter football team. That's where I see it being the most improved. Might not be a more talented team, but it's going to be a smarter football team. Because yes, you did lose Gronk, you did lose Ali Marpet, you did lose Antonio. You did lose Antonio Brown. Yeah. So, but I just feel like there's more continuity. You know, guys are, they understand the offense. There's not a lot of change in this offense. Yes, you have a couple new receivers, but they're going to be fine. Tom Brady's easy to work with. So is, you know, Julio Jones. They understand it. Russell Gage, he's a smart player. So I'm excited to see how they operate. Cam Brate, I think, is going to be better because he's a full-time starter now. It's hard going from a starting role to a backup role and making that adjustment, not playing as much. It's going to be, he'll be big time for us.
Oh, absolutely.
I got one more big time for you real quick. Guess who Tom Brady's best friend is going to be this year? And I'll tell you, it's not a receiver or a running back.
It's going to be a tight end.
It's going to be Keeft. Because what's Keeft going to do? What do the Bucks do every first and second down that we hate so much? They run the ball, right? Keeft's going to get you that extra 1 or 2 yards per run, right?
Right.
Imagine those 3rd and 2s. Remember last year? I mean, like, you know, it'd be 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. You know, we're 2nd and 12. You know, after getting stuffed in the backfield. I mean, Keeft as a tight end or a fullback. I mean, you literally just follow him, and you're going to get that extra yard or 2, which we know in the NFL is going to add up. The Bucks are going to run the ball a lot more this year. I think Brady doesn't want to throw 600 times again. I don't think, our boy JC, has mentioned that Mike Evans might not make 1,000. As long as this team wins, I think if they win 13 games, they're going to be a 1 or 2 seed, and that's all that matters. Just get there, and I think they're going to win a lot of games. And it's going to be predicated from running the ball and defense.
Absolutely. And I'm right there with you. With O'Keefe, I think Justice mentioned that as well. I'd love to see O'Keefe out there blocking for one of our running backs.
That's my boy, K. Dotton as well.
Yeah,
K. Dotton, baby.
K. Dotton, I think halfway through the year is going to supplant Kyle Rudolph in this offense.
Yeah, I could
maybe
see
even
it.
before that, but I don't want them to rush Cade. But I think he's going to have a role in special teams. He's going to get some packages in there. Like he's going to be on goal line. Honestly,
Yeah.
on goal line they'll probably have O'Keefe in the backfield with those 3 tight ends. I don't know how you're going to cover Cam Brate, and then those 3 real blocking tight. Kyle Rudolph is no slouch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's going to be interesting is the red zone offense.
Yeah.
I mean,
which Tom Brady, I don't think he still hasn't thrown an interception in the red zone since being with the Bucs.
Yeah, knock on wood.
And that's kind of where I was going. I mean, look at all these weapons you have, and when healthy, and even if you're down 1 or 2, you still have a plethora of weapons. That's my ATC word for today. A plethora of weapons out there that you can use to get in the end zone.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing, I'm happy that the marriage between Byron Leftwich and Tom Brady's still there. I think they will work together to really to help this offense to take advantage of mismatches and take what the defense gives you, and just I think they're going to benefit from this.
Oh yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Go Plus.
Oh, I was just going to say it's bonkers. I mean, when you look at it, and if once all the receivers are fully healthy, Godwin's back to being himself, you can play this so many ways because you can go 4 wide with.
Imagine if you're running also Godwin. Imagine if you're running behind Keith and Godwin.
Oh yeah.
Good fucking luck. Good luck.
Yeah, you can have O'Keefe in the backfield as a fullback, or you can put him in as a tight end inline blocker. Yeah, I mean you can have Godwin go in motion and crack block and have a big time opening on the outside. So that's what makes it so exciting. And that's why I talk about this team being a smarter football team. I think it's going to be a new dynamic that we're going to see. It's not going to be all pass heavy. It'll still be pass centric because they need to pass the football to be successful and score points in the first half. But in the second half, you can see it where the running game, especially if they run it the right way and at the right opportunities, it can be more explosive from that standpoint and help your team close out games and really,
that's
finish
the key right there.
Games.
Yeah. And that's what, consistently, well, historically, the Bucs have always struggled with is closing out games. There were patches of time where they were able to do this, but on a consistent basis, I can't say since Brady's been here, but prior to Brady, we just really didn't see it. And I think, like you said, these are smarter players. Keanu Neal, Logan, there's a lot of players on this team, free agency, that are smarter players, and they're just going to do nothing but help the younger people. There was a question in the chat about Rudolph, and what are your thoughts on Rudolph? How does he contribute to this offense, or does he?
He's slow. First of all, he's a slow guy. Yeah, exactly. He's slow. He'll be a factor inside the red zone, I think, early. Again, his responsibility is going to be a lot in pass blocking, run blocking, helping out with max protections, short routes, over the middle. Nothing too fancy with him. He might run some seam routes, time to time, but I don't think he's ever going to be a guy where, like you saw in preseason, where they were trying to win single, one-on-one matchups with him. That's not going to be the case going into this season. And if it is, then the Bucs obviously are in a lot of trouble because a lot of guys have, gone down with injury.
Yeah, he's not dynamic, so he's basically going to be blocking and doing some short stuff, getting some yak, maybe, just over the middle. He's not OJ Howard going to be running 10, 20 yards downfield. But I think that's a good thing. Again, I think
Absolutely.
I'm not one of those people, and I hated when people came out with the whole BA, redlining playbooks. I think Todd Bowles is going to just allow, you know, Brady and Leftwich, they kind of do their thing a little bit more. Whereas, I'm not saying BA did anything because I don't think he did. But what BA does is like any one of us with a job, we're going to say, hey, Pless, here's what I drew up this week. What do you think?
Mhm.
Oh, I don't like it, or, you run it, but like, this, I see in this X, Y, and Z situation. Whereas I think the more that we can give it to Brady, just let him do kind of his thing and then match it with, those BA concepts we saw. Obviously 2020 was great. Um, I just really think Todd Bowles he has that, what's Bill Parcells? He's the Bill Parcells guy. So like I think it's a good marriage for what Todd Bowles may not be the best coach in Bucks history, maybe not even a better coach than BA overall. But I think this season right now, I think it's a good move, and I think it's going to pay dividends because I mean, he doesn't have to worry about I think him having that mindset of like let's slow the game down versus BA let's 30, 40,
Mhm.
50. Like let's get those points on. I think it's going to help the defense. I just really hope Camarda and our special teams just don't screw this defense
Yeah,
because too many
absolutely.
the past 2 years, too many bad possessions or 3 and outs, like field position starting
Yeah.
at the own 40, 50. Like you can't do that and win games.
Are there do you know if there are like statistics over the past 2, 3 years to kind of show what special teams as far as field position has been? I mean, and I don't want to say that I'm overthinking it, but I just don't see the Bucks special teams as being very consistent in with big chunk plays that they're giving up and putting the defense at a disadvantage. So yeah, this is going to be something. One of the other things that I'm going to be watching is the special teams on both sides. Just how do they handle their assignments, and can they get those stops, and can they stretch the field to put either side, whether offense or defense, in a good position.
Yeah, I would just bomb it out of bounds when you're on punt. Just bomb it out of bounds. Don't have to worry about punt return coverage because Dallas. That's one of the keys in this game. Dallas has a very good special teams returner. So
Cavante Turpin.
yeah,
Don't
man.
Why,
give it to
why,
him. Think
why?
of him as like Deontay Harris is what I would tell people. Or
Yeah,
forgot what Deontay Harris changed his name to, but like that's the type of guy you just don't punt to.
don't kick it
Camarda
to
just
him.
shank that puppy, just directionally punt that out of bounds, and
And
we're
I'm
good to go.
always envious that everybody's got a kick returner, but
Well, we'll see.
We have Jalen Darden.
Yeah, we'll see what Rashad White can do on
yeah.
kickoffs. I'll be interested to see.
That was the
Are you
interesting
comfortable?
one.
Are you comfortable with that move? I worry, like I said,
I'm
I'm
fine
shell
with it.
shocked from last year with injuries, and that's the one thing that sticks in the back of my head.
Kick returners, I mean, you think about it, 60, 70% of kicks go out of bounds. So it's
Yeah,
like
he doesn't get a lot of returns.
So I mean, as long as, and again, this is why I think having Otten, Keefe, those kind of guys are going to help the blocking in terms of those returns, and for punting, even blocking for punts as well, because
Yeah.
um, the Bucks special teams just hasn't been good outside of Suckup and Triner. I think have been great. Obviously, everyone knows my opinion, but
Look up, it's my boy.
from a coverage unit, even this preseason, the Bucks coverage units were bad, but I also will give them benefit of the doubt because they're
Oh,
trying out Tyler Johnson there. They're trying different things,
A lot of
but
new
like the
guys.
preseason games 2 and 3 were bad in terms of
yeah,
returns.
they were really bad. That Colts game was just maddening.
Yeah.
And again, these are guys that are just called upon to make fundamental plays, basic
Well, and
plays.
Camarda was having great punts too. That's what made it
Mhm.
worse was because he had a couple high long ones
Yeah.
and
Did
30,
good
40
on.
yard returns. 20 was like 34 yards net for that Colts game. It's like, no, that he punted way too well for it
Yeah.
to be that.
And folks, please, you can't read a lot into the special teams during preseason. There's a lot of them guys are working for Labor Ready now, or they're on the practice squad, or they're working in Rent a Center or something. But they're not your starters. So you got to go in here with a little bit of faith. Let's see what they can do, and hopefully that we won't see more of kind of what we saw in the preseason.
Yeah, and they did pick up. I think they picked up one of the Colts special teamers, so he'll probably be elevated, I'm sure, this week because it doesn't look like Zion McCollum's going to play. So he'll be one of the corners. He'll probably be one of the gunners, I'm sure, on special teams. And then you have Sean Murphy Bunting, who will probably be the other one. Maybe D Delaney as well. So, those guys will be in more defined roles, and it should help out your special teams. But like I said earlier, Ken said earlier, just punt that bad boy out of bounds, especially on kickoffs too. Make sure it's touchback. Kick it into the end zone. Don't let that guy return it. And
there you go, KB. I do want to hear you say this. Do you miss Bradley Pinion?
I'm gonna miss play, but I bet you he's gonna have the 2 best games of his career against the Bucs, against the Falcons.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. He's gonna suck every other game, or he's gonna be Brian Anger and like make one more Pro Bowl before he fades off.
No lie. One of my best Buccaneers memories was being at that game with Ken Barrett against the Saints. Oh my goodness!
He
Even
sucked though, like I was like, he's
so
gonna shank this 25-yard punt.
And it happened every time, and it was so beautiful to just witness that, even though it was like just a shitty ass game. I mean, 9-0.
I will never forgive the Bucs for that, because Pless, that was the best atmosphere of a Bucs game I've ever been to. That's probably the closest it would ever be to like a college game. I mean, Gene, there was 99% Bucs fans.
It was
all
loud.
That's
all
like,
read it out, and it was loud.
That was back in the day during the first Super Bowl run. I mean, it was a freaking party. Yeah. Every single game you went to, and it didn't matter who you sat next to, it was a party.
Yeah, it was a hell of a good time. Even though the offense made me throw up, literally, I did go in the bathroom and throw up.
Well, each time we just looked away, plus someone just got injured. Like, yeah, it was just,
that is true. Yeah, we lost Mike and Chris, I think, in the first half,
and Lenny.
Yeah, and Lenny. So that went the whole playbook right there.
Basically,
Scotty, Jalen, and Tyler couldn't win anything one-on-one.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what kind of gives me hope. I mean, if we go back to last year against the Rams, who are your starters? You had
Mike.
You had Mike Evans,
Scotty, Tyler,
and
Darden.
And so from Mike Evans, the steep drop off is like from the top of the Grand Canyon to the bottom of the Grand Canyon underneath the Colorado River is about where the drop off was when you talk about talent on one side of the ball towards the other. Perryman wasn't healthy, was he?
Perryman wasn't on the team yet.
He wasn't on the team yet. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I look at this team and I look at what they had versus what they have now, if any 2 receivers are healthy, along with the tight end room that we have, the Bucs are always going to be in a game.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just I have no doubt in my mind that there will always be in a game, even with Scotty Miller, a healthy Scotty Miller.
That's the crazy thing. And I don't mean to cut you off, but the crazy thing is, like, we were still in that game without all those guys because of Tom Brady. And
honestly, that may be one of Tom's most impressive performances as a Buc, despite obviously the score and how everything ended. But he was playing on a whole nother level, and no one was matching him.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
And he just said, "You know what? Get on my back. Let's go." And
that's why I love it that, national media, local media, I love it. Just let them doubt us, and let's see how
and I'm sure that he's got a poster board full of things from like Peter King, Keyshawn Johnson, and Steve Smith. I'm sure I haven't heard anything from Steve Smith, but I'm sure he's thinking it, that the Bucs are just they're gonna get beat by everybody because that little midget, how he does things. So,
Brady and Jordan will even just make up stuff. So, but now there's actually fuel thanks to Peter King, and I mean, there's networks out there. I mean, I think it was Kyle Brand of Good Morning Football had the Panthers winning the division and had the Packers, Rams, and Bucs as wild card teams.
Wow!
Like, it's just get me to the season.
And while we're talking about Carolina, I'm just gonna say this. Baker Mayfield is going to have he's going to go off against Cleveland. He's going to go off because he's an emotional player. That's what he does. I don't know if you guys remember his pattern when he was in Cleveland. The media would say something about him. He would go out and ball out. It didn't matter who was on either side of the ball. He would go out and ball out. And then next week, he kind of tapered down a little bit. And then finally, the media would call him out. He'd get in his feelings again, and he would just do the same thing. But I can promise you, I like him, but he's just not consistent. And factor in Matt Rule. Oh my God. I mean, I just don't see him being successful as long as Matt Rule is the head coach there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Carolina is going to be interesting. I think their defense is
They're legit.
Definitely going to be
It's a top
fun.
10 defense, top 10 to 12 maybe, but
yeah, it really just depends on QB play and how that offensive line comes together. You have a rookie left tackle,
Right.
But they don't even know what to do with Icky because they want to play Brady Christensen at left tackle even too. So it's like,
what is that all about?
They don't even know. Like, well,
They're
I
gonna
mean,
put him at
Icky has
guard?
struggled Icky has struggled a little bit, so they played him at guard, but then lately they put him back at tackle. So like they don't know what to do with either of those two players.
That's poor coaching.
Yeah, exactly.
Again.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, in the beginning, I was like, okay, if the players buy into what Matt Rule is saying, or what he's, his philosophy, I think that the Carolina Panthers will be fine. But just from what I've seen from him and getting rid of, firing your offensive coordinator when it wasn't, it had more to do with productivity on the field. You're expecting Christian McCaffrey to be a huge part of your offense, and he's not available. I mean, you're
Don't say that, Gene. I had to draft him last night. Don't say that. I'm just kidding.
But I'm just going by his body of work.
I'm
here.
teasing. I'm
just going by his body of work. But that's the way. If I'm a Panthers fan, I'm going into the season looking at who's behind Christian McCaffrey and saying, okay, what can this guy do when this guy goes down? Because I think that's kind of where we are. I mean, when you look at that team, you cannot, and you'd be foolish to hitch your hopes to Christian McCaffrey. When he is on the field, the guy is dynamite. But when was the last time he had a full 16, 17 game season?
Yeah. I mean,
what, 3-4 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
they'll be an interesting team.
Absolutely.
And, Ken did get a steal though. He got him at 7. So
that's the thing. Gene, I had no choice. The first 5 players are basically it, and he somehow fell, and it was like I could win or I could lose this league in one pick. Let's try winning.
Well, you know what? Let's stay with the NFC South because another team that I hate, I loathe them, but I think they're not going to be as bad as what people think is Atlanta. Atlanta is going to be.
I disagree, Gene. It's not that I don't think Atlanta's a bad team. They even have a harder schedule than like we do. Like their schedule's brutal.
But I think a lot of teams are going to overlook Atlanta, and Atlanta's going to win. They're going to sneak in and win some games.
Yeah,
I can't believe I'm hearing you say positive things
about they'll win. They'll win some games, but
they'll win like 4.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what happens with the quarterback. Is Desmond Ridder going to take over and be the guy?
Because I just don't.
When is that? Yeah, when does that transition take place? I mean, Kyle Pitts, yes, heck of a player. I hope he does really well. I'll have him in my fantasy. But we'll see. I mean, other than that, you have Drake London. You got some other guys that are
Marcus Mariota.
Are they going to run like option plays with him and Cordell Patterson out of the backfield?
Yeah.
Defensively, they're still a mess up front. Defensively, it's going to be tough for them to really generate pass rush. They're going to have to blitz so often. Yeah. They don't have the linebacking core that they used to.
Oh no, they're
and secondary is. I mean, I love AJ Terrell. He's probably a godsend for them because he's been their best player. Really good. Yeah, that's about it. That's about it. So
Well, I guess they have what's his face on the D line.
Yeah, there you
Grady
Am I
Jarrett,
blanking on- Grady
Yeah,
Jarrett.
but
Like
that's
those two are like
that's pretty
literally
much
it for that entire team, let
yeah.
alone defense.
but he's getting older, and it's it's going to be tough for them. They're still, I think, a couple more off seasons away where they can really they got to build more up front as well. Their offensive line is still inconsistent at that, and yeah, it'll be tough sledding
Yeah.
for them.
Gene,
Absolutely.
rapid fire for the Falcons, real quick. Just rapid fire, win or loss. Just
Okay.
what comes first to your brain. Home versus New Orleans.
Loss.
At Los Angeles Rams.
Loss.
At Seattle Seahawks.
Win. Geno Smith.
That's
Anything's
West Coast,
possible.
though. That's
Anything's
West Coast.
possible.
Okay, Cleveland
But it's Geno
Browns.
Smith.
Home versus Cleveland Browns.
Win.
I have loss.
Okay. At Bucks.
Well, that's a loss.
Home versus San Fran.
Oh,
Loss.
that's a loss.
Okay. At Cincy.
Loss.
Home versus Carolina.
Win.
Okay. Home versus the Chargers.
Loss.
At Carolina.
Win.
You're giving the sweep. Okay. Home versus Chicago.
Oh, that's a win. I think they're gonna sneak that one out.
Okay. Well, see to me okay. At Washington.
Oh, that's a loss.
Okay. Home versus Steelers.
Loss.
At New Orleans.
Oh, that's a loss by 50.
At Baltimore.
Ooh, that's a loss by 60.
Okay. Home versus Arizona.
Ooh, Kyler Murray gonna carve them up. Golly, I didn't
Okay.
think.
And then home versus the Bucks. So at the most optimistic level that I've ever
Maybe
seen,
4?
Gene gave him 6. So I would think 3 or 4 is
Yeah,
what's
okay,
I
I'm
think
gonna
4
go
is the
4.
average number.
Okay, so 4 wins. Let's go 4
It's
wins.
because whenever they have other than the Panthers, every other bad team, like even the Seahawks, they're traveling 4,000 miles west. So
Yeah.
it's like they just don't have nothing broke well in their schedule.
As long as Geno Smith is under center, Atlanta's got a chance.
It becomes more difficult. Like I was saying, if they go to Desmond Ritter, 6 games in, that schedule even becomes harder because now you have a rookie at QB and not very many weapons to go with. It'll be tough. I mean, a lot of teams are going to try to focus in on Kyle Pitts. That'll be harder said. It'll be harder to do, but they'll do their best to contain him, and it'll just be tough sledding.
Yeah,
overall.
absolutely.
They'll be
for
in a
me,
lot
I
of.
would. Oh, yep.
I was just gonna
There'll
say
be a
there are
lot
gonna be
of-
a lot of shootouts.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me,
real
I'd
quick,
start him week 10 because that's Carolina, Bears, Commanders. If he starts, let's say week 6, you got home versus San Fran at Cincy. I don't know if you want to throw him in that one.
Nah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you want to get him on the back end of the season and possibly get him ready for it. And again, you have to worry about the durability of Marcus Mariota. And you look at that Atlanta, which you look at the Atlanta line. Now you got me thinking about this. Do they even get 4? I mean, seriously. I mean, realistically, when I think about their offensive line and people that can kind of step up and do anything, and you look at their receiver core, and they're in trouble.
Big step back in the offense line. I mean, they still have Jake Matthews, who is not what everyone billed him out to be coming out of the draft, but I think he's, average, top 15, whatever. Remember 2 years ago, it was, Atlanta has every spot has a first round pick on their offense.
Yeah.
That ain't the case anymore. And the ones that they have, I mean, Lindstrom's okay. McGarry's booty.
I'm good. As much as I was like, why didn't they get a quarterback instead of a tight end? I'm good with them doing that because I hate Atlanta. And I want them to be like wallowing in futility forever.
They've made good moves, though. I mean, they got my favorite Brian Edwards. They brought him in. They have Amadeus Zacchaeus. I mean, they have Drake London, who, sorry, he's not Mike Evans, but I think he's going to be a good quality player. Yeah. They got some pieces there, but they really got to solve that quarterback position.
Yeah,
and I don't think Ritter's
and I think that they messed up. I understand what you have with Pitts. I get that, but why not get a Trey Lance or somebody to, I don't know, that I just didn't agree with how they did it.
Well, they passed on Fields. They didn't have a
Yeah.
chance at Lance.
Okay,
Just
they
FYI.
Justin Fields. Okay,
Yeah.
and just when I look at them, and then they ended up letting Matt Ryan go to the Colts, and they didn't secure any. I don't know. I just don't like the way that they're going about doing it. But you know what? I'm good with it because they're going to be where they are for a while, and I'm happy with that.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I think the Matt Ryan pick became Desmond Ridder, 3rd round.
So there is that. But I think, with division rivalries, and the only reason I say this is because they face each other. I would say as Rock 813 had mentioned, I think Atlanta might beat the Saints. I think they may beat the Saints at least once this year. And I hate to say that, but it is what it is. I don't care. They
play the Saints better than we do. I mean, they the past couple of years they've given them a run for the money.
That's crazy. That's the crazy part about it. And again, when you look at Jameis Winston, that is like the most interesting part of the Saints offense is to see what he does. Was it a fluke? What happened to him while he was in Tampa? Or I don't know. I have yet to see. I would love to see the decision making. I want him to have a full season, see what he does, because I believe that his decision making is in question, and it should be. And I think.
I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead.
I was going to say, the Saints are in an interesting position. I mean, their first 3 weeks are all division games. So if let's say the Bucs struggles continue, they're at Atlanta and at Carolina, which both.
Right.
I mean, Baker's still new. Atlanta's pretty much everyone's new. So like if they come out 3-0 and they knock out 2, Atlanta and Carolina, their away games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, God bless Jameis Winston, but they have Minnesota, then Seattle. I mean, they could be realistically 4-1 to start the season, Gene.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting because if they start off slow, though, they have our schedule too. So if they start off slow, it's not going to be pretty.
Right. I think when I look at the Saints, their defense is going to have to show up. That's what it is. I think you losing Chauncey was huge. A lot of people may disagree with me, but I think losing Chauncey was huge. I mean, who else?
Why not wait one more year and get his comp pick is why, at least when I think about it, because Chauncey costs nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, and
the guy's a jackass, but the guy, he could get in your head.
He's like Cam Jordan, man. Like I hate him, but like I kind of respect him. Like, what I mean?
Karen should have been a Buck. And don't get me
Adrian Claiborne. He had 5 sacks in a game, Gene.
You're going to get me started on that, aren't you? I can't get mad at Karen because you know what? He should have been a Buck. But a wasted pick. But I digress.
Yeah, Saints will be interesting. I mean, again, that defense is still solid. They have a very good front.
New head coach.
Yeah, new head coach, but I mean, he's been there with the team. It's kind of similar to Todd Bowles and the Bucs. So, yeah, it'll be intriguing, and they'll definitely try to contain Jameis's playmaking. That's what they did last year. They ran the football. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna give Jameis 1 to 2 reads, and that's it. Keep it nice and simple.
Watch Jameis in the Panthers game week 2. It's there, and I think the Saints staff knows it because they lost that Giants game a week or 2 later, where it was literally everyone's like, "Oh, you should have unleashed Jameis." No, I'll drop a game to the Giants versus what I saw in that week 2 game any day of the week, because they won. What was he 5-2? Those were his 2 losses.
Yeah,
I mean that's how you win in the NFL is you don't turn the ball over. I mean, whenever Dallas week 1 last year, what did we do? Lenny drops an easy completion that pops up to Trayvon Diggs, one of his 6 lucky interceptions, and he gets 6 more. He blows out the league, and then Ronald Jones fumbles, and those happen on back-to-back offensive plays. That's why that game's a one possession field goal game. If those 2 turnovers don't happen,
it's a
different game.
I mean, I'm sick of hearing about Diggs. The guy, you got bricks for hands.
Gene, he let up over 1,200 yards last year.
Oh yeah, he got cooked.
Yeah, he got targeted.
But he's got hands. He's the complete opposite of Davis. Davis can cover you, but he can't catch a lick.
Yeah, but he got smoked like a Cohiba though.
That's the thing. If
Yeah.
you're gonna get beat, you better intercept the ball once or twice. Like you gotta do something there.
Yeah, 11
I'm here to
picks.
tell you that it's embarrassing when you don't. So I mean, so without flashback.
I'd rather have a guy who doesn't give up 120 yards on average in a game personally and have 0 picks for the season, but that's just my mentality.
Or the guy that jumps a route, or the guy that doesn't listen to his third base coach and decides to try to slide in the third. Yeah.
It's always nice to have those Marcus Peters, Trayvon Diggs. But man, the Cowboys don't really have much else to support him, because even Micah Parsons, I mean, is he an edge? Is he a linebacker? I mean, when he was a linebacker last year,
Do they
week
really
one,
know how to use
Tom
him?
Brady made him look stupid. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. Tom Brady manipulated the shit out of Micah Parsons. And
Yeah.
it was his first game, whatever. But if I'm Dallas, Micah Parsons is not seeing any kind of middle linebacker.
No,
against the
not even
Bucs.
a little bit. Not even a little bit. So I want to get to keys to the game, and I, it doesn't matter whoever wants to speak up. Well, I actually, KB, I'm gonna start with you, man. Keys to the game. What are your
Offense, defense, both, or
We're
what are we
talking
doing?
about the Bucs coming out with a win, going 1-0, going into the second week versus the Saints.
Establish the run. And I don't mean by running it 5,000 times up the middle. I mean running it effectively when you have a pretty open middle of the defense for the Cowboys. I mean, you don't have to win this 40-30. You don't need to do that. Just take care of the ball. Let the playmakers do their thing. Let Keefe, run behind him, play smart. Defensively, got to contain Dak. If he gets outside of the pocket, I mean, even last year he had the broken ankle that he was recovering from. He was still pretty mobile. Dak's 100% now.
Mhm.
So we know the Bucs struggle with running quarterbacks. I told you my keys for the Dallas winning the game is to max protect and get Dak outside the pocket. So those are my two keys.
Do you drop a spy on him?
Thy name is Devin White, and if he's doing anything other than that when we play teams like Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, I will be severely disappointed in the staff.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm seeing. Okay, Pless, your thoughts?
Everything that Ken said is absolutely right. So I'm just going to go with that. No, I'll add to it. I'll add to it.
Yeah.
I'll add to it. I agree. On offense, it really just comes down to playing smart. Take advantage of your matchups and protect the football. Make Dallas's linebackers play linebacker. I think that's the biggest thing, and that's why I agree with Ken. You got to make Parsons. You got to make their edges play run defense, because that's where they're weak. You can definitely attack them on the outside corners, outside tackles, and yeah, make Parsons play some linebacker. Make him cover. Because I think you can have some, mismatches there. Make Van Der Esch, same thing. And yeah, just be smart. And Tom Brady's we're going to spread them out at times and take advantage of Julio Jones on their number 3 corner, Russell Gage, etc.
Yeah.
So we should be able to move the ball up and down the field. Now it's just being smart inside the red zone and converting, with Mike and others. So offensively, I think we'll be fine. And then defensively, I don't really have a key. I think the defense is going to make a statement, a big time statement, that this defense is for real. It's going to be a top 5 defense, and they are going to give a very hard time for the Cowboys offense to move the football, because they're going to play smart and they're not going to overthink it. They're just going to get after Dak, and they're going to pretty much shut them down.
Yeah, I love we got 3 guys calling the defense now, basically, too. So I mean, they're helping Bowles, who
Absolutely.
Oh my God, I'm blanking on the linebackers and safeties coaches, but they're both basically helping Bowles with this, and I think that's what we all kind of need, is those young. And we saw in the Lions in Hard Knocks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these former players, they've been there, but they're also still young. They're still innovative.
And the one thing that I love about the Bucs coaching staff is you got a bunch of teachers on this team. It's not like you go out and do this here. This is the play. They're giving you the how and the why that you're going out and doing what you're doing. So to me, when I look at this Bucs, especially the Bucs defense, which is going to be the key to the Bucs beating the Dallas Cowboys, you stop the run, you shut down Zeke, and you're forcing Dak to either make plays with his legs or to make plays, downfield. And I really believe that with the linebacker core that we have, you've got Joe Tryon, you've got Shaq Barrett. I really believe that, it's going to be a long night for Dak if these guys can get home. And that's the key right there, if they can get home. And I have very high expectations. Vita Vea, Akeem Hicks, wrecking the middle of that offensive line and making it a challenge for Dak Prescott to be comfortable. That's the kind of thing that I'm expecting from this defense.
Tyler Biadasz is having some severe PTSD after what Vita Vea did to him last year.
Absolutely. He pushed
Yeah.
him into his lap. Cole's
Well, like
Cowboys,
he dominated the entire second half. I mean,
Yeah.
Vita Vea is the reason why I think we won that game, despite the turnovers. Vita Vea, he had the holding call, the sack. Those were game-changing plays.
All right. Cole's Cowboys. You want to call in 813-358-8154. I would love to hear from you as a Cowboys fan. Hold on one second. Let me make sure I got everything done, because you know how hood I am. It just sometimes it works, sometimes it don't work. 813-358-8154. Cole's Cowboys. You want to call in? I want to hear from you as a Cowboys fan. Thank you for checking us out. I appreciate you. And here, you know what? I'm gonna do you one even better, man. Put it up here. Hopefully you can call in if you're at work or whatever, just go on break, give us a call. I'd love to hear from you. But again, I've been kind of watching Dallas because I love this hate relationship for Dallas, but I've been watching them to, kind of see what they do. I feel, I want to say I feel bad because they've just like, but it's Jerry Jones. I hate Jerry Jones, and no offense to you, Cole's Cowboy, I hate Jerry Jones. And unfortunately, the Cowboys will not win a Super Bowl as long as the Jones family is involved with this football organization hands-on at any point in time.
Heck, win a playoff game would be a nice start.
All right, you are live on Buc What You Heard. Who am I talking with?
The Cole's Cowboy.
What's going on, man? How you doing? Thank you for calling in.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
What's up, man?
Hey, not too much. Thank you so much for calling in. I'm gonna give
you guys.
I'm gonna give you the floor. I'm gonna give you the floor because I want to hear about the Cowboys. I don't want to hear about it from the national media. I want to hear about it from a fan that's invested in the team, and what your thoughts are watching the Cowboys in preseason and camp, and how they set up going into the regular season.
All right, yeah, not a problem, man. Hey, I do Cowboys content. I keep it 100. I'm not one of those that's gonna feed you bull drive about the team. So, as y'all know, man, we haven't done much in the off season. Jerry and really his son Stephen Jones, he kind of really taken over the team. Handling finances with the team and all that stuff. So he's super cheap. So of course we lost Amari Cooper. We lost him not just because of the cap, but for personal reasons. They really just wasn't feeling him no more. They didn't like that he, didn't take the C-19 test and missed those 2 games against Kansas City and the Raiders. So, you know what I'm saying? They was kind of over him. Move on to Lyle Collins. They didn't like that he was suspended for 6 games last year. You know what I'm saying? So all the moves was personal. You know what I'm saying? Which I didn't like. And if they was going to make the move, at least, you know what I'm saying, don't make it live media, kind of work under the table and get a good pick from them. So, you know what I'm saying, that's what we were dealing with. So
real quick, and I'm really curious to get your thoughts on it. When you look at the last couple of drafts, I remember, I can go back a couple of years, the Cowboys were drafting offensive linemen, and all of a sudden you've got this dominant offensive line for years that the Dallas Cowboys had. And they've kind of gone away from that. I guess my question would be, what's driving them with the draft picks that they're making? Are they going in a specific direction, or is it best player on the board, or is it this guy's going to help us this year? How are they thinking, going into the season each year?
Basically, my thoughts is I think they're really putting more bank towards the defense. They are actually giving more power to Dan Quinn draft, having his insight on defensive players than Mike McCarthy is with offensive players. You know what I'm saying? that's the whole thing. You know, Jared gives and Dan Quinn more, you know what I'm saying,
Mhm.
power than Mike McCarthy, which is hilarious. You know, in my opinion, it makes things kind of worse than our year. But yeah, and as Cowboy fans, we're not used to a dominant defense and a mid offense.
Right.
We used to having the stars, you know, on offense. So as Cowboy Nation, we're freaking out, man. We're like,
Right.
man, we ain't got no receivers. We don't know what to do with the ball. Kellen Moore, we don't know about him. He's okay. You know, he starts off
Right.
good. And then when he gets figured out, he don't know how to readjust.
Right.
So I'm hearing you guys talk about how we're going to move the ball. And, bro, I'm going to be real.
Mhm.
I thought the same thing. How are we going to move the ball? And the only thing that I can figure out, which I can really put a lot of faith in, is 12 personnel. That's
Right.
what you're going to see throughout the whole game. 12 personnel.
Yeah.
Dalton Schultz will be our number 2 wide receiver, not Noah Brown. Noah Brown is going to be a decoy. He's a blocking wide receiver. He's trash in my opinion. I can't do. He probably,
Dalton Schultz is the key to the game. It's not CD, it's Dalton.
yes, he is the expert.
Mhm.
Him and Ezekiel Elliott. And I could say Tony Pollard if they use him in the slot.
Mhm.
If. Because they've been saying they were going to use him in the slot for like 3 years since we got him. And
Mike McCarthy doesn't like to think.
Yeah. You know, he doesn't have Aaron Rodgers there, so you know there is that.
right, you know.
Now I have to and see this goes back to me. I would be frustrated as a Cowboys fan because I really feel like if you had a head coach that had autonomy like a Jimmy Johnson did, which you haven't had a coach that's had autonomy since Jimmy Johnson, I think the team would be in a better position year after year, but it just doesn't ever end up being like that. Maybe I'm an outsider looking in, basically. And
Yeah.
and just basically I feel like that you know, Jerry Jones' ego was like bigger than the team, and that's why this team has continued to fall short, you know, throughout the seasons.
One of my pet peeves about this team is I'm tired of us having to go back to the 90s Cowboys.
Mhm.
No other team is really, you know what I'm saying, oh, let's see what the 19 when they win the Super Bowl 97
6 or 7, yeah.
Or 96, wasn't it?
You know what I'm saying? Build your own identity. You know what I'm saying? Build your own
100%.
dynasty.
Hey,
You
we're
know
the Bucks. We had 0-2 until Brady came, so we get it.
For real. We were on the
know what I'm
ropes.
saying? So hey, as far as the you know how the team is, how the Dallas Cowboys, it's forever gonna be like that
Mhm.
as long as the Jones family, not Jerry, but the Jones family.
Exactly. 100% agree with you.
You know, so we're always gonna be doomed, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that, you know, he always gonna want to be the spotlight. I want us to, like, I'm glad the Eagles right now getting all the spotlight at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So hopefully we fly underneath the radar.
The Eagles, but the
um,
Eagles, they eat their young, so there is that.
Yeah,
Can't
exactly.
stand the Eagles.
Exactly. But as far as like you guys' defense, as far as the offense, in my opinion, like I know y'all going through y'all offensive line troubles, and I want to see what Michael Parsons going to do. They are going to line him up on all sides of the ball.
Mhm.
Last year, Michael Parsons was very wet underneath the ears. You know what I'm saying? If you know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
That was his first
Mhm.
game. Now,
And
let's
he
see
hadn't
what
really
he's
caught
gonna
up to the
do.
speed of the NFL.
Exactly. So that's what I want to see. You know, our defense, nobody's really talking about them because they don't have a lot of big names besides Michael Parsons.
Mhm.
But we got some young studs out there. And in Dan Quinn's system, I believe they're going to, you know, show up a little bit more than people think.
So,
Do you know who loves Dan Quinn's system? Tom Brady. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Oh, yeah, he knows.
Too
You
many
know,
passes with
all of us.
Seattle.
so
Yeah.
you know,
But,
oh, go ahead, please.
oh, no. I was just about to say, how do you guys feel about Chris Godwin? Because I know, you know, we got the same situation with Michael Gallup. And I know he got his knee brace.
I
He
think
snap-
that-
he
I
snap
think
counted
that-
if he
I think that
plays.
with Chris Godwin. I think the Bucs offense, they have the luxury of sitting him or putting him on a pitch count and not forcing him to come out to play at a high level right away. And I think when you look at Mike Evans and you look at some of the other players that they have on offense, you know, whether it's the running backs, tight ends, or wide receivers, I think they're in a good place to where if he had to only play a couple of snaps, he would be fine. As they just kind of ease him back into the game, I feel very comfortable with where he's at and how they're bringing him along. And Pless, I
Right.
want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think it'll,
But
yeah, it's Godwin. I mean, again, they're going to take it slow with him. If he does play, it'll be snap count, like Ken said. So he's on pace. I mean, it's amazing that he had this injury back in December and he's already pretty much ready to go. Now it's just about getting clearance from the doctors and go out there and test it. So if he does play again, it'll probably be some type of limited fashion.
Yeah, absolutely. KB.
but that's good news for you guys. I know that for sure.
So,
Yeah, we need 'em.
if you want to get a chance, I really appreciate you calling in to go ahead and promote your show.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's already passed or you're getting ready to do it or what you have going on, but let the listeners know where they can check out your content, because again, it's really cool that you come on and we get trolls on here sometimes, but it's cool that you come on and you're actually realistically talking about your team, and I gotta respect that. I respect that from any podcaster that's willing to come on and just kind of listen.
Hey, real talk. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I actually called into your show like a year ago when we was playing, the beginning of the season. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't doing content at that time, and I was, I just started after the off season, so I've been grinding. I actually hit up real Buc Sports, this morning.
Yeah.
Mike.
Yeah, I'll be on his show Saturday. So.
Oh, that's what's up, man. I like that.
And Gene, hey, if y'all want to go ahead and if all three of y'all want to come on, hey, I welcome it, man. The more the merrier to me.
Yeah.
I'll follow you. I believe I follow you on Twitter, man. I got to double check because I be following everybody. But I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and shoot y'all links and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can look me up on Cole's Cowboys. That's it, Cole's Cowboys.
All right.
YouTube and Twitter. Yeah.
Alliteration never fails.
And you know what, man? This is the initial week going into the season. So thank you for calling in. We do a thing what we call it the hot seat. And so on the hot seat, we've got 10 questions, 1 minute, and there's no wrong answer. You just got to go through and just answer the questions as we put them out. So I don't know if you're watching the show, you see a little timer, so I'm not cheating, because I'm notorious for cheating to win and whatever I need to do to win, that kind of thing. But I'm trying to be fair here. So as you can see, I got a minute, but I got 10 questions. There's no wrong answer. You just answer however you feel, and just let me know when you're ready to go. I'll ask the first question. We'll get going and we'll do this.
All right, bet.
All right, here we go. First question. Baker Mayfield is a good fit for Carolina. Buy or sell?
Buy.
Mike Evans goes over 1,000 yards this year for the Buccaneers. Buy or sell?
I'm buying that.
LA Chargers, contenders or pretenders?
Pretenders, because they have
the Bengals. The Bengals improved their team enough to get back to the Super Bowl. Buy or sell?
Sell.
Aaron Rodgers, overrated. Buy or sell?
Buy.
Matt Rule, head coach of the Carolina Panthers. Scott Fitterer of the Carolina Panthers. Where is the problem in Carolina?
Matt Rule.
Ryan Tannehill is on the hot seat. Buy or sell?
Buy.
The Cleveland Browns will improve with Deshaun Watson. Buy or sell?
Sell.
The Miami Dolphins, contenders or pretenders? Buy or sell?
Contender.
All right. We still came short, but I'm gonna hit you with the last question anyway. Mike McCarthy is on the hot seat. Buy or sell?
I'm buying.
There we go. So do you think it's possible? I mean, I'm just gonna kind of follow up on that question. Do you think it's possible that Mike McCarthy does end up getting fired at the end of the season?
Only if we are high in penalties again, and if we either miss the playoffs or is one and done in a wild card. I don't think Jerry gonna have enough.
Mhm.
He's not close with Mike McCarthy like he was with Jason Garrett.
Okay. Because I was going to ask, that was my next question was, I know Jason Garrett got a lot of opportunities. I think Jason Garrett had the best put together Cowboys team in his tenure compared to where I've seen other times outside of the Super Bowl era, and he wasn't able to get it done. So
you have 10 years. You have 10 years, 10 tries. You're gonna hit out of one of them sometimes.
Yeah, you got to. You got to, definitely. All right. Well,
but,
no, go
I was
ahead.
about to say my biggest fear, I'm gonna end off on this. My biggest fear is Kellen Moore getting the job. That would be horrible.
Really?
Because he's Garrett 2.0.
All right. Well, hey, you know what, man? Thank you so much. I'm glad you called in. You're a friend of the show. You're more than welcome to come on. I know I talk a lot of trash on the Cowboys because most of their fan base is, well, I'm at war with most of their fan base. But I really appreciate you coming on, and I really respect that. Thank you so much.
Hey, I appreciate y'all having me on, man.
All right, man. And you follow me on Twitter. I know Pless is going to be on with you. I'm definitely going to follow you if I'm not already, because I really appreciate this.
Oh, not a problem. Yeah, I'll go ahead and hit you up, man.
All right, I appreciate that. All right,
not a problem. Y'all be easy.
All right. That was Cole's Cowboys. It's great, man. People all over the world, checking us out. And speaking of all over the world, November 6th will be special for Buc What You Heard. I will be live in Birmingham, England, doing Buc What You Heard with the UK Bucks, hanging out, drinking beers, and making merriment.
That one might be past my bedtime. I'm just gonna throw that one out there.
Actually, it's a watch party for the Bucks versus the Rams, so it definitely won't be. So it'll be like prior. It'll be like past my bedtime.
I thought you were going there for the Seahawks game.
So I'm actually going there for a wedding, and I will actually be there on the 6th in Birmingham, England. And then from Birmingham, we're going to Germany. And then from Germany,
sense. I forgot UK and Germany are not near each other.
Then we're going to Scotland, not Scotland, France. We're going to Paris, France. So it's going to be all over the place, man. It's a European vacation like the Griswolds. I'm kind of aging myself here. I definitely age myself. If you guys get a chance, check out.
That was so funny.
Family vacation, the European vacation. Yeah, check it out. But anyway.
Geography and
I just mixed up UK and because I know we had the game in Germany, and I'm so used to the games being in England.
Yeah.
Oh, Germany. That is going to be fun. Got my hotel. One of the and I don't know if he's watching, but there's a Bucks chapter in Germany, and I'm gonna catch up with those guys, and we're gonna drink a lot of beer. That's what we do.
Nice.
Well, I really gotta have to wean myself back into drinking beer. I've been like doing this intermittent fasting, so I don't drink a lot of alcohol on a regular basis. So I'm like weak now, so it doesn't take much.
Don't worry, you're gonna have a cutoff after the bye week, Gene. After the bye, no more. Just like in 2020, we're gonna cut you off.
And we've got to get back to that. I've got to get back in touch with NFL Jesus. That he led us to the championship. So that's what it was. But anyway, Pless, what do you have coming up next, man?
Just more Cowboy stuff. We're gonna have some, film breakdowns hopefully here soon before the game gets underway on Sunday. Really just talking more about what I kind of discussed here tonight. How the Buccaneers offense has to deal with Micah Parsons. He is, the X factor on their defense because of his pass rush.
It's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, pass rush ability. So just have to make sure we're accounted for him. I think they will be. And then the rest of their defense, I think, presents some good things. The scheme wise, I agree with Ken. I think Tom Brady's going to love going up against the cover 3. It depends on how they, want to play it. Do they do anything differently? That'll be the biggest thing. Like, are they going to play more matchup man coverage and roll the dice there and try to press our receivers and allow their rush to affect Tom Brady in that way? So it'll be interesting to see what they do. Is there more blitzing? just have to wait and see. But yeah, that's really just more stuff on the Cowboys coming out for our channel. Got a lot of great content already up, and we're just going to keep on plugging away.
I have to ask this question. Is Dan Quinn a potential prospect for being a head coach after Mike McCarthy does whatever Mike McCarthy does?
It's possible. I think he'll probably get a job elsewhere.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think he would be a good coach. I do like him though more as just a defensive coordinator. I think that's
there are some people in
bread and butter.
Yeah, and that's just their niche in life is just to be a coordinator, not a head coach. Kind of like Dirk Cutter or Mike Smith. Or we can't really use Mike Smith because he's a horrible defensive coordinator too. So there's that.
Both him and Cutter, just throw him out the window, man.
Yeah, exactly. Cutter retired because he knew the game outgrew him and just couldn't.
That's like Lovey Dovey. Lovey Dovey's is going to be the same way, man. I can't believe that this guy's old man Santa Claus is still
just please feed Damon Pierce and I'll be a happy man.
There you go.
That's about all they have going for. I mean, they have so many like decent players. It's just like in the NFL, can you win with 30 decent guys?
Yeah, that's the question right there. Mm-hmm. Well, guys, I am so excited. We didn't really get, fortunately, I thought this was kind of a cool thing to have Cole's Cowboys on with us, to talk a little bit about Dallas and get a different perspective. I did kind of want to go through what we were looking forward to with Pick'em. Mm-hmm. And since we don't have a lot of time, I'm going to go with the Thursday night game. And plus, I want to get your thoughts. Who's going to win that Thursday night game?
Oh, I got the Bills. Bills, hands down, because I hate the Rams. Hope they just beat them 42-0.
Wow. Okay.
My heart's with the Bills, but I'm picking the Rams mainly at home. But also, I think Tre'Davious White not playing in the game is going to be the biggest factor because, they play a lot of cover 3. Kind of what we just talked about, with the Cowboys, but there's just no one to really stop Kupp. So,
and guys, if you're anybody out there that's playing fantasy football, you need the Fantasy Life app.
I was just making sure I picked the Bills. I did pick them. So,
yeah, because I'm picking the Rams. The Rams are at home. And it's Thursday night football, so the Rams are going to win.
Josh Allen can't stop him.
Well, if there's any time to play West Coast, going East Coast to West Coast, it's the first game of the year.
Absolutely, get it out of your system.
Exactly. Yeah, so, I want to take Buffalo. It's just, Aaron Donald. I just don't think Buffalo has anything on the offensive line.
Yeah,
to really stop him.
But I think
Jalen can match up with Diggs as well. So it's like I just don't think it's a great matchup for Buffalo with White out.
Yeah,
I think this Rams game is going to be probably the toughest. I'm saying this at the beginning of the season. What I found is that certain teams start out slow and then they build up momentum as they go into the season. But this Rams team, I think, is going to be a problem for the Buffalo Bills. I don't think they're giving it.
For me, I want the Rams to lose only NFC games, so I don't even care. Just lose to the NFC, lose to the 49ers, lose to whoever else. Drop a game to Seattle. The thing about the Rams is during the regular season, they have duds. So, again, I just want their duds to be against NFC teams. They're probably going to go 12-5, 13-4. 4 or 5 of those losses have it be NFC. That's my hope.
Damn. Drake London has a knee injury. He's limited in practice, so there's that. Van Jefferson is out for Thursday versus the Van Jefferson.
We'll talk more about this next week, but I don't understand how May and Kamara are able to play. Kamara, I guess I understand given the situation, but May literally just got arrested a week ago.
That's crazy. But that's the NFL for you. You never know discipline-wise what these idiots are going to do. So keep that in mind. But anyway, so Justice Muhammad says Buffalo. Justin Stevenson says Rams. I like how you think. I'm sorry, but the Rams at home advantage.
I hope Buffalo wins. I want that on the record.
I have no love for the Rams and their illegitimate.
Heck, CBS Sports has Buffalo at 61% of their votes right now are going
Buffalo's front seven is going to cause problems.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing is, can they just stop Kupp or limit the Rams from scoring TDs.
They're
Like,
going to get
that's the only
after.
thing.
They're going to get after Stafford.
Oh, they have the most depth on the D line I think any team could ever dream of.
Mhm.
And that was even before Von Miller.
Yeah.
So are you guys familiar with Ben Skowronek? Because I'm hearing a lot of people talking about how he's going to be the third receiver behind Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson. And with Van Jefferson out, well, yeah, this is pretty interesting. But anyway, guys, if you get a chance, I'm just doing this just to kind of even the playing field. You're playing fantasy, you're a hardcore fantasy football player. There's an app called Fantasy Life app. Be sure to check it out, please. You know, I don't get anything out of it, but it's going to help you. And that's what I'm here for, is to help you. But anyway, KB, what you got going on this weekend, man? How you feeling?
Feeling good, man.
I love that energy, man. I know you're sick and
we're gonna
podcast to get you back to where you are, man.
It's gonna be a struggle to get me off the couch on Sunday afternoon to evening. That much I will say, but be on the lookout. This background might look a little different in 2 weeks.
Yeah, here we go, my man. And I'm not gonna spill the beans on this, but I'm excited.
We'll spill it in 2 weeks.
There we go, man. Do you need me to send you some flags or pictures or artifacts or anything?
We're good to go, man.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. All right, guys. Well, this has been fun. I want to thank everybody that checked us out. Shooter and the Stash podcast. Shooter, you jerk. I can't believe you came in and tried to trash me and call me a Falcons fan. I'll never forgive you for that until next week, of course. But this week, I'm not going to forgive you. And I know that you're happy with your guy, Jameis Winston in New Orleans, because you're a closet New Orleans fan. And I know this to be a true. So anyway, guys, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you guys so much. And look for you guys next week. Hopefully I can get Pless and KB back on here and we can talk some more football. This is always fun. This makes my week. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys. And you know what? We're going to go ahead and roll up out of here. Go Bucks.